I'm Matt Thurber, Editor-in-Chief of AIN Publications. Here with me is Mark Phelps, Executive Editor, and we're here to talk about temporary flight restrictions. Mark, what is a TFR?
A temporary flight restriction, as most pilots know, especially those on the East Coast these days, is, in the case of a VIP TFR, it's a protective area around the president or the vice president. There are also TFRs over sporting events and other sensitive areas. There's a 10-mile diameter inner ring and a 30-mile outer ring that have varying degrees of restrictions. The 10-mile inner ring is highly restrictive, and the 30-mile ring has got less onerous restrictions, but still a pain in the neck.
So Mark, we both fly, and we have to check for TFRs before we go flying, but it's my opinion that TFRs are ultimately pretty useless as far as trying to keep bad guys from doing bad things.
Well, I would agree that nobody likes TFRs, especially pilots, but I would say not so fast. And the reason for that is that by their very nature, general aviation airplanes provide access to otherwise private or secure areas, and that surface traffic and no other type of traffic really does. So I do think that there can be a specific threat from a general aviation aircraft to someone within a TFR area.
Okay, but I've seen what TFRs accomplish, and all that I've seen them do so far is interceptions of pilots who really didn't do a very good job planning their flight and learning about the TFRs that were up there and that they had to deal with. But as far as I have been able to determine, no person with a bad intent, terrorist, bad act, or whatever, has been intercepted or prevented from doing anything because of a TFR.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, you don't know how many people might have been tempted to or thought to do it and have been deterred by a TFR.
True.
Now, not for the most part, pilots are not lunatics, but we do have our exceptions. Now, as everybody remembers, in 1987, Matthias Rust flew a Cessna 172 and landed in the Kremlin. And in 1994, someone stole a Cessna 150 and crashed it onto the White House lawn. And sadly, also in 2010, there was a pilot who flew a Piper Dakota into a federal IRS building in Austin, Texas, killing himself and one of the employees of the building. So bad things can happen based on people doing bad things with light airplanes. So if a TFR deters a crazy pilot like that from doing something like that, then maybe they're doing their job.
Unfortunately, in my opinion, all a TFR does is paint a target on the back of the VIP inside the TFR or on the building or whatever else is being protected. And in fact, we all know that a terrorist could just buy an old jet, load it up with fuel, fly it right at the target inside the TFR at 500 miles an hour, and I don't know if there's anything that could stop that from happening. So how effective are the TFRs ultimately?
Well, in that scenario, not very effective at all. I don't know how realistic that scenario is. Maybe aircraft brokers could give us some insight on whether or not someone could just surreptitiously or go about buying even an old clapped out Learjet. But it does deter someone in a light airplane who might have bad intentions or maybe just trying to get some attention for himself. And there's another factor too. It's not just someone trying to kill the president. There's the nuisance factor. Just imagine if anybody who felt like it could fly over Trump National Golf Course, shooting video or circling the golf course, hoping to catch a glimpse of the president. That's not a desirable situation either.
That's a good point. In fact, there's TFRs over places like Disneyland and Disney World that prohibit flights of banner towing airplanes. Mm-hmm. We all suspect that that's more of a commercial reason than a security reason, but you're right, it would be it would be extremely annoying to have paparazzi flying over the president every time he went to play golf.
And also there is the added danger of a mid-air collision, which if someone's not paying attention to where they're going and they're looking down and there are too many of them in the area, then that can be a problem.
Overall, though, I must conclude that TFRs are pretty much a wasted effort, and that if you're looking at the cost benefit of a security process, that there's much better ways we could spend our security dollar.
Well, you know, one of the things that I was thinking about when contemplating this whole process is maybe we could do it better. For instance, I don't think it needs to be quite so restrictive. I think you could have special gateway airports where people could check in so they could fly through the airspace. It wouldn't take that much to vet a family of 4 in their Cessna 172 with golf clubs in the back and realize that they were flying on their way to Martha's Vineyard from Philadelphia, and they can pass within 50 miles of Trump National Golf Course without endangering the president. I agree with that.
Okay, Mark, well, it's pretty obvious that TFRs are here to stay, and we're just going to have to deal with them. In any case, we are interested in your opinions and would love to have you leave comments and also your suggestions for what we should talk about next time.
And just so that I can get the last word in, thanks for watching.